episode number 215.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because #ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine S. Brand. Hello. How are you? I want to talk about being overlooked for career advancing opportunities and how to avoid that. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I see time and time again amongst the women that I coach, the clients that I work with, that one of the biggest reasons why people feel frustrated in the roles that they're in right now and feel as though they may want to move or they may want to shift to a different environment, a different organization, is because they feel overlooked and undervalued. They feel overlooked and undervalued. And because they feel overlooked and undervalued where they are, they think, okay, these people don't appreciate me, so I'm going to go and look elsewhere. They may be working in a team where, they've been there for a long time, they're working really hard, but they're not getting acknowledgement. They may be working in a team where other people are taking credit for their ideas or for their work, where there may be particularly male counterparts who will hear an idea that they say or something that they have shared and then basically share it at another time as though it's their own. They may be experiencing other people who've been within the organization for a lesser amount of time being promoted above them. So all of these types of things, it could be what they're experiencing, which is causing them to think that they're not valued enough and so they need to move on. But what I want to talk about is the fact that if those things are happening and you know that you're doing a good job, you know that you're good at what you do, you know that you're showing up and you're showing out and you're adding value, but the organization is not acknowledging it, or your team members, your line manager is not acknowledging that and giving you credit where credit is due, it's partly their fault, but it's not all their fault. It's partly your fault. It's partly your fault. And let me explain what I mean by that is it's your responsibility to make sure that the contribution that you are making is noticed in the way that you want it to be noticed. You're the only person who knows what's happening behind closed office doors. You're the only person who knows the amount of time that you're putting in, the amount of effort that you're putting in, the feedback that you're getting from clients, the feedback that you're getting from peers, the positive vibes that you're getting from those around you because you are doing such incredible work. You're the only person that knows the extent of that. So if you're the only person that knows the extent of that, you're the only person that's able to make known the extent of that. And I'm not saying that you need to be tooting your own horn all the time and saying, I'm fantastic, I'm brilliant. It's not about being big-headed. It's not about being arrogant. But what it is about is being intentional about what it is you are sharing and where you are sharing about what you're doing. Because if you don't share with people, how are they going to know? We can't just assume that your line managers or that people that work with you are fully aware of everything that you are bringing to the table. And that's when we're talking internally. Sometimes there are people who are frustrated because they're looking for opportunities externally and they're looking around and they're seeing people who are not as qualified as them, who are not as experienced as them, landing bigger roles with bigger salaries and thinking, what is actually going on? I'm here working hard and there's people out there that aren't as qualified as me, but they're getting further ahead. And it comes down to your ability to really talk about and position yourself around what it is you've been able to do and what it is you've been able to achieve. You need to be able to do that. You need to take ownership of that, because at the end of the day, no one else is going to do it for you. And sometimes we can look around and be like, how is it that these people are getting ahead? It's because they're doing stuff behind the scenes that you're not even thinking about doing. What you might be doing behind the scenes is complaining. What you might be doing behind the scenes is chewing off the ear of your spouse or your partner about what's going on at work and complaining about it, but they're not doing anything about it in terms of making sure that you are showing up in a way where people are seeing and appreciating the value that you bring. And sometimes I know that there are some of my clients who will be like, Janine, I'm not an extrovert, I'm an introvert. I don't feel comfortable just talking about what it is that I do. It doesn't come naturally to me. And I get it. And you don't have to be the loudest person in the room, because often the loudest person in the room does a lot of talking, right? And sometimes they can get tuned out. But have you ever been in a situation, and type in the comments below if you've ever been in a situation like this, and let me know, like type 1 below if you've experienced this, where there's a group of people in a room and there are people sharing their perspective. There are those who like the sound of their own voices, who are sharing their perspective quite openly and quite persistently. And then there's just the one person who's normally quiet, who's like sitting at the back of the room, who hasn't said anything for the whole entire meeting or the whole entire discussion. And then they open their mouth and they drop a gem. They drop a gem, and it's like a mic drop moment where everyone looks around and is like, why didn't we think of that? That's such a good idea. Thank you for sharing. That person was not talking, but what they did say, when they did say it, was impactful. And so I want you to like really lean into that example when you're thinking about what it is you're sharing, about your expertise and about your experience, about what it is you're able to do. You don't have to be talking about things all of the time, but you can be dropping what it is you want to share at the right moment with the right people and make more impact. And so really this whole series that we're talking on this month is around visibility. It's around you showing up. It's around you taking ownership of the fact that you don't want to be overlooked for opportunities. It's about you taking ownership of the fact that only you is going to move and drive your career forward. No one else is going to do it for you. And so if you want to avoid being overlooked for great opportunities, you need to start being strategic about being seen and being visible. And here's the thing, when people are feeling overlooked and undervalued, they want to jump ship. They want to go somewhere else. It's like, these people, this organization, they don't value me. But what we don't want to happen is that you move to a new environment and you experience the same thing. Why do you experience the same thing? It's because it's not just about the environment. Like, there's your part to play. So if you're not exercising that muscle, and I say exercising a muscle because it's not something that comes naturally to everybody. So if you're not practicing that, if you're not practicing putting yourself out there, if you're not practicing raising your hand and sharing your perspective so people know that you're there, if you're not practicing saying the thing that you're really thinking about that you want to say in a meeting but you're scared to say because you don't know what people are going to think, if you're not practicing stepping outside of your comfort zone in that regard, if you're not practicing going out, reaching out and speaking to the people that you know you want to connect with because you know that that relationship could help move the needle for you, if you're not practicing those things, you don't get better at it. So if you're not practicing in a place where you're at right now, where you currently feel comfortable because you've probably been working there for like 5 years plus, if you're not practicing it there, what makes you think that when you move to a new organization, you're going to practice it? When you're in a new environment and you absolutely don't know anybody and you're really worried about the impression that you're going to make. So whilst moving to a new role, a new organization might make sense in some circumstances, what I'm saying is it shouldn't be the default, and the assumption shouldn't be that if I move, everything's going to be rosy, because you're still the same person in a new environment. So there's a level of responsibility that we have to take as individuals for where our career is going. Yes, there are factors that are external. Yes, there is structural issues sometimes. Yes, there is like things that organizations should and could be doing, but there's also things that we could and should be doing also. So I just want you to be contemplating that and thinking about that and recognizing that if you are being overlooked for opportunities, there's a different way that you can be going about positioning yourself. We have been in situations where people will say things and it's like, oh, that's so interesting. And I want you guys to be the people everyone's leaning into and listening to, because you are sharing the perspective that you have, rather than feeling like nobody wants to hear what I have to say or other people are already talking about it. It's like, no, you have perspective. And if that perspective is going to bring value to your organization and help them to save money, manage risk, increase revenue, like share it, because the powers that be, that is what they are looking for. When they're thinking of value, when they're looking at different employees within an organization and considering who here is somebody that we wouldn't want to lose, who here is someone who adds value to us, who here is someone who, like, you know, we want to make sure is good and is supported. It's those people that they can see are really supporting them with getting to their goals. If you're supporting the organization with getting to its goals, if you're supporting the department with reaching the financial goals or the strategic goals that are set, then you are showing your value. But you need to be able to know what those goals are, and you need to know how you support with those in order for other people to be able to see it. Because if you don't know it, you can't talk about it. If you don't talk about it, people don't see it. So I want you to be thinking about what shifts do you need to be making in terms of like how strategic you're being about where you want to go in your career. Like, we can't just be sitting around waiting for other people to notice or other people to pay attention, because they may not. They may not. And so we get to accelerate our advancement and accelerate our growth when we make a decision. It really comes down to the decision. Like, you deciding that actually, I do want an elevated role. I do want to earn more money. I do want to make more impact. And I'm not willing to waste time waiting for other people to recognize that that's what I want. And I'm going to position myself so I can find it. So that's all I have for you. Thank you for listening. I will see you guys later. Bye.
Hey. What I know to be true from working with over 100 amazing female professionals is that you may be the best kept secret in your organization, in your industry, in your space. And there are opportunities out there waiting for you. So if you are somebody who wants to take up one of those opportunities, if you want to make a big, bold move in the next 3 to 6 months, and you want to do it in a way that isn't stressful, that isn't time consuming, that doesn't have you feeling burnt out, then lean in, because the Career Changemaker program is back, and we are looking to support 10 female professionals who are ready to move into a role with more impact, more meaning, and more pay in the next 3 to 6 months. If you want to understand how to leverage your existing experience, how to position yourself to attract opportunities to you so you don't have to chase them, and land a role that allows you to position yourself as a thought leader in your space, you want to apply for this cohort of the program. We start on the 1st of May and we will be running for 3 months, and there are a limited number of spots. So if this sounds interesting to you, if this sounds like what you need right now in terms of support, then I encourage you to apply without delay. Head over to careerchangemakers.com/CCM program, submit your application. I will review it. And if I think that the program could be a good fit, we can jump on a call and explore what that looks like. So make your application today, because we haven't got long before we get started. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, then I want to remind you that caring is sharing. Share this episode out with somebody else, and head over to your podcast app to leave us a rating and review. For every rating and review that you leave, it helps us reach more people. It helps more people find the show. So I'd appreciate it if you go and do that right now. Thank you so much.